drops to the floor. They said it would get easier, but I don't know who for. Days move faster now, I swear. I can feel them slip away. But some things last forever, the love that never fades.
Sometimes I like to come up here to edit my videos, because it can be a bit manic at the house sometimes with the baby and everything, and I just need to focus. So where better to come than to a cliff edge in the van and do some editing. But that's not why I've brought you here. I'm going to explain how I've hardwired in my EcoFlow to power the entire van. Do you know what, I've already moved once to get away from these, but whether you can see that, but there's all these little midges flying around. To prevent my van from getting filled with these little flying gnats, I might have to keep the door shut. Right, here we are. So the setup's pretty easy, really. These are the old wires. So these two wires here from the solar cut-off switch go through the wall and into this, okay? Not using that now, and I'll explain why in a bit. So now what I've done is disconnected these wires. They're not connected to anything. Then I've wired in these two. They connect to this. And then that there then plugs straight in to the EcoFlow. So now, this is where it would say input, but it's not at the moment because the switch is off. So if I turn this on, we should then start to see an input. I mean, we are at 99% charge, but here we go, look. So there is watts now coming in. So we're actually generating 153 watts of solar at the moment, which is going straight into the EcoFlow. Now I could quite easily leave this plugged in all the time so that technically it should never go flat. Going into the winter months when we're going to have less sun, if I do find that I'm struggling to keep this charged, you can actually charge it off the van as well. So when you're driving, you can just plug it straight into the cigarette lighter. But also, I can literally just pick it up, take it into the house, and then charge it. So that takes care of keeping this charged at all times. What about sort of wiring in all my lights and my fridge and everything else that I've got in this van to make sure that it all runs off this? Well, this is my 12 volt fuse box that you'll remember. I'm going to apologise now about the mess of these wires. I've been playing around with this, so it is a bit messy, but when it's finalised, I will tidy it up. I've wired up one of these, which is a normal sort of cigarette input of what you would have in your car. And it's connected to this wire, goes all the way to the ground at the top here, and the live connects down the bottom there as well. So now what we do, we take this here, this connector, we open the 12 volt socket input there, we plug that in, and we should get, this red light should come on to say that we're getting power. So now from that, everything that's on this fuse box here is hardwired into this, and it should power everything else, everything that's 12 volt in this fan. And then for the 240, we literally just plug in these two here into there, like so. And now from that we should have, oh, that's a bit brighter, isn't it? Oh, everything should be working. So let's start with the lights. Okay, we ready? Lights. Lights on. Right, we ready? See that? Perfect. Those work. Fridge. Fridge is on. The two biggest drawers I'll have in this fan are the fridge and the max fan. Fridge is on. Lights are on as well. Let's just turn this on. Cool. So with all the lights on, the fridge on and the fan, let's see how much power we're drawing. We are drawing 56 watts but we're actually generating 137 from the solar. So we have essentially got free power. So because the 12 volt output on this is only 10 amp, it means that it is limited to the amount of watts it can actually pull out of this one socket. But I really want to push it just to see how high we can take that number without it cutting out. Because I mean, in the real world, the three things that are going to be on at the same time are the lights, the fridge and the fan. So as long as it can manage that, then it should be fine. But let me just turn the speed up on the fan. Okay, so now we're at between 100 and 105 output of watts, and it's still managing it. I can hear that there is the fan has kicked in on the EcoFlow, but it's so quiet you can barely hear it. So here's my plan before I fully commit to getting rid of all of this and just sticking with the power station. I'm going to run all the van power off this for a good month or so before I start deciding whether I'm going to keep all of this stuff. And the reason behind it is simply I don't want to then sell on all these parts and get rid of everything and then realise this isn't quite man enough. So it needs to have a proper test, which is what I'm going to be doing over the next sort of few weeks. This unit, I'll eventually have it installed, so this battery will be either a backup, which I'll just keep over here, and then this one will go there, or that will all be gone completely, and then that will just sit there. That will all be nice and tidy. That'll be just wired into there. All of the wires will be nice and tidy and clean. But not only that, it will give me a bit of extra space as well for storage back here. And I think the problem was, somebody asked me this on Sunday's video. They said they want to know what the issue was with this, and I did a lot of reading about it, and I spoke to an electrician, and you know, he deals with sort of 12 volt things. So Eddie, thank you, I appreciate the phone call and your time for running through all this with me. And we actually worked it out. It was an earth problem, okay? I wired in a temporary earth wire, plugged it in, and this was working. I was actually getting some power in from the solar, and I was like, yes, it's fixed, finally. Connected everything, tickety-boo, not so much. About 2 days later, it just stopped working again. Having read about the Victron solar charge controllers, apparently they don't like to be earthed through the chassis of the vehicle, which is where my earth is. I don't really understand where else I could probably earth it to. So that is sort of the main problem. But for me, it's not so much, there's probably a way around it, of course there is. But for me, I've just lost complete confidence in it, because one minute it was working and I thought it was all fine, and then the next minute it's not working again. And I need reliability, and it's completely put me off that system. At least I know my solar panel's working, because that would have been a nightmare replacing that. Whew. I'd also like to say a big thank you to everyone who bought a chopping board from Sunday's video, but I'm also really sorry because they sold out within the first 4 hours. Maybe it was a bit of a misjudgment from me to only actually have 19 for sale. But what I'm sort of considering doing, for anyone that feels like they've missed out on getting one and they still really want one, if you could just let me know in the comments if you do, and then I could always get some more made. I mean, I probably could just put the one for sale that I'm keeping, but I don't want to. I'm going to keep that one myself. But like I said, I can get some more ordered. It's not a problem. But anyway, I thought I'd just break up your week with this midweek little update on what I'm doing with my electrics, and I'll see you on Sunday for the farewell video for the Vivaro, and I'll see you then. Cheers!